Access Fort Wayne offers reflections of our community. Production facilities provided by Access Fort Wayne are a service of the Allen County Public Library. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting organizations. For more information about creating your own television program with Access Fort Wayne, call 421-1250.
Hello, this is Patty Hunter of Patty's Page. Welcome to my show. Today's guest today is Susan Swayze. Hello, Susan.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. Glad to be here.
Oh, my goodness. Now, you are the program coordinator for Indiana Family Institute, and what else?
That, and I also am the legislative director for Indiana Right to Life.
Wow.
To work for both places.
Oh, my goodness. So, where were you born?
Well, I was born in Seymour, Indiana.
Seymour?
I'm a Hoosier through and through.
Oh, my. Because, you know, Bob's cat is named Seymour.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
You were raised there?
I sure was. And Brownstown, it's a small town just outside of Seymour. Jackson County, I'm a Jackson County girl. But I've been in Indianapolis, really, for the past 35 years or so.
So you must have been a wee one when you moved there.
Well, yes, of course I was. I moved there to go to graduate school, or finish my college and go to graduate school.
Oh.
Just a few years ago.
So when you were growing up, was your whole family pro-life?
You know, Patty, I don't even recall. When I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, it really wasn't, it was a political issue in the 70s and the women's rights and all that, but my family didn't talk about issues like that. My family didn't talk about that stuff at the dinner table or whatever, so I don't ever recall even having that discussion in my home.
Well, how old were you when you started to be pro-life? What
Actually,
motivated you?
Well, I was not pro-life until I became a Christian.
Oh.
And I accepted the Lord as my Savior when I was 38 years old.
Oh, my stars.
And I'd been working toward it in my mid-30s, as certainly having a child of my own made me aware of that, of course. And then, so I came to it kind of late in my 30s. I think that's why I'm so passionate about it today, maybe, because I've seen both sides of it, and I know what a lie it is on the other side. Yeah.
I was going to say one of my relatives was an abortionist in the 60s and 70s in Toronto. This was before Roe versus Wade.
Right.
And I was really the only one in the family at that time. I know they've changed their minds now, but that was against abortion, what my aunt was doing. I mean, I have forgiven her.
Yes, that's important.
It took me a long time. My goodness.
Difficult.
What other positions do you hold in the past?
Well, like I said, I went to Indianapolis to get my master's degree, and so I worked for the United Way of Central Indianapolis for 13 years. It's how I got into lobbying, actually, and I was their lobbyist for 10 of those years. And then I left there and went to the Greater Indianapolis Chamber of Commerce. I was vice president of government affairs for the Chamber of Commerce there in Indianapolis for 10 years.
Oh my goodness, you've been around, girl.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah, I've been very busy, and I've been very blessed with a career in politics and policy and lobbying, and it's very kind of a unique niche, I know, but it's something that I have really enjoyed and seem to really have taken to well. So I was at United Way when I'm in my early days of my career. I was blessed to be able to work on welfare reform and senior citizens issues. Child abuse and child protection was kind of my specialty, and so I created the Children's Coalition of Indiana.
Oh.
It's still active today. It's an advocacy group for children in the state.
I like to get in touch with those people.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then I went to the Chamber of Commerce for a while, and then I got a calling on my life to come out of that and lobby for pro-life and pro-family issues.
Yeah. Well, today is October 6, 2012, and today was a rally on what?
Religious freedom.
Religious freedom. Yes, I already knew that. I just wanted to hear from you. But, yeah, what were your thoughts about the whole rally?
You know, first of all, I was so pleased with the way the rally turned out today. It was really exciting. I think people that were there were really pumped up
Right.
and excited to be there. It was a chilly morning, but it's been a beautiful day today, and kind of it feels like fall. But the issue is so important, and what is so exciting about today's rally, I think, is that this is not the first religious freedom rally.
No.
And this is all, of course, because of the Health and Human Services mandate that covers contraception and sterilization and abortion chemicals in the health care plan under what we call Obamacare, but the federal health care plan. And so these rallies have been several rallies across the country.
Yeah.
And that people are still motivated, still excited, still passionate about that today at the third or fourth rally.
Yeah.
It's really a great sign. So I was really pleased to be asked to come up here.
Are you going to go to the Auburn? There's a rally.
You know, I won't be doing that. I'll be going back home to Indianapolis. I've been involved in the Indianapolis one.
Oh, there's one there?
Mm-hmm. In a couple of weeks. I spoke at the one in June there in Indianapolis. And there'll be another one coming up. Theirs will be on
Just
October
before the
20th.
election.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, try to take in as many as I can, though. And it's important, and what's so exciting about this movement is that first of all, it's so necessary because of the attack on our religious freedom through basically the taxpayer funding of abortion through our insurance plans.
And employers.
And employers, yep, you're exactly right. And but these rallies are happening all across the country, so there's a really big message here.
So, did you see Obama and Romney?
In the debate?
Yeah, did you see the debate?
I did.
What do you think?
I did. I was very, I don't know why I was surprised. I was very intrigued and happy with Romney's performance. And what I'm so grateful for is that he has a lot of experience running a state.
Right.
So he had a lot of examples he has some real hands-on experience. He knows what he's doing. He's not just this businessman, and he is a good businessman,
Right.
economic principles and fiscal austerity and things like that. But he's also run a license branch, and he's run, the health department, and he's pro-life, and he's pro-family, and I thought he looked very presidential. I agree with everyone else. I thought that our current president looked a little ruffled and befuddled. Mm-hmm. Good word.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I was pleased with the way that debate happened, and I was pleased with how the issues unfolded during the course of the debate.
So you were at the rally, like I was.
Just today, yeah.
Now you spoke.
I still got all my stuff on. Yes, I spoke at the rally. I was pleased to be invited to speak.
So what you talk about? Tell the people,
Well, I thanked somebody very special for bringing us together today, and I mean this. I thanked our president, Barack Obama. And everybody laughed, but really in doing what he's done with the mandate about,
Right.
He's actually awakened a sleeping giant, the pro-life community,
Us guys.
the religious community,
Yes.
private businesses who have a conscience, don't want to fund certain things with their tax dollars. And so it really has sparked this debate and brought a lot of us awake and alive to start to speak out against. There are other things I would suggest that have gone terribly wrong in this administration in the past few years, and not just our economy, but the rise and the rapid advance of abortion.
My goodness, he seems to be the most pro-abortion.
He is. He's
President.
certainly the facts actually show that. The number of executive orders or signing things, doing things, his appointments, all of his appointments. Kathleen Sebelius, who's the Health and Human Services Secretary, for example, she was the governor of Kansas who vetoed every pro-life bill there was. So he's actually put in NARAL and
All the wrong people.
pro-abortion people throughout his. So it's no surprise, though, that because they're making up Obamacare and other program decisions, it's no surprise that they would want to fund abortion and want to cover contraception and things like that. That shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. The shock, though, is how quickly this has happened
How quickly
and how
people-
forcefully it's happened.
I don't like that.
I don't either, and the people at the rally today didn't like it either. So it's good, though. It's brought people off their couches and into the public square where we can begin to voice our opposition to things, and hopefully we can reclaim the, the territory we're about to lose here. Well, I guess the mandate went into effect already August 1st, which is
sad that we have to actually fight for our rights. And it's supposed to be a land of free, but it's not. It's being turned into something I don't like.
There were several speakers today that made some comments equating this with religious persecution.
Yes, it is.
And
That's why
in
we
some
got
other
England.
countries, religious persecution is really severe, torture and things like that, death. However, it has to start somewhere, and this is a very subtle but very factual beginning of religious persecution. Now, with the hate crimes bill and some other attempts to control the religious community, we're seeing it really in this under this administration more than any other, also in history.
Yeah, it reminds me of Hitler.
There are several things that there's a pattern here.
It's a pattern.
There's a pattern here.
We seem to want to go back to our vomit, do it over again. Right. History repeats itself. And
Yeah.
It's sad that it has to be this country.
I would certainly equate to the Holocaust abortion.
Abortion. How many
We have the
babies?
blood of those children on our hands.
How many millions of babies
Yeah.
have we aborted
Yeah.
since war was
50
53, 54 million?
Million. In fact, what I try to express to people too, if you look at it a completely different way, besides the blood that's on our hands and our consciences, one of the reasons Social Security and Medicare aren't panning out, partly it's our economy, of course, but when they were trying to figure out how to sustain it over the long term and do actuarial predictions,
Right.
they did not count on us aborting a generation.
So what's going to happen?
So it even affects other things. It doesn't just affect life or death. It affects everything in our
Economy,
community, our
jobs.
economy.
Food,
Right.
intellect.
Yeah.
I mean, just think how many
It's also-
Einsteins were aborted.
Right. Future presidents, the cure for cancer.
Nancy.
Right.
Nurses, I mean.
The other thing that we're seeing more of, and you don't hear about this as much, is some of those countries, especially China, that aborts baby girls.
Second child.
Huh?
They abort the second child.
Okay. Then the rise in sex trafficking, women stealing women from other countries to be sex slaves because they don't have as much women. And we're finding a real connection with that. There's a lot of research on that right now. There are a lot of organizations that have popped up to try to protect women. But it's a rising kind of crime that's happening, and one of the reasons is that there are less women in some other countries, and so there's a higher demand for women.
And Sanger, that's her name, Sanger?
Margaret Sanger.
Margaret Sanger.
Right.
She was prejudiced.
Absolutely she was. Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist in the turn of the century, and she, like Hitler, in fact, we have evidence that they corresponded in writing, and he asked for her input on a few things, and they were intellectual colleagues. There's a movie or a documentary called Maafa, if you haven't seen it. It documents this very clearly. Very interesting documentary, which shows the papers, and it's all provable. But she wanted to do away with
Black Americans.
basically black America. I can't remember the term she used, but undesirable populations, I think was her term.
Minority.
Right.
That's
And
not right.
but most people don't know. They may have heard of Margaret Sanger, but most people don't know that she was one of the original founders of the American Eugenics Association, or the National Eugenics Association, which is the forerunner. They changed their name in the 50s to become Planned Parenthood. Yeah.
Now, explain what eugenics is.
Eugenics is the scientific study of, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but chromosomes and DNA and trying to find a perfect race.
Oh, that sounds like Nazi, the Aryan Society.
Right. Very, very, very much like that. Only these are very highbrow scientists, right? So I'm being facetious. But it is certainly the study of breeding and all of the scientific activity around that and how to create a perfect race, or in Margaret Sanger's case, to get rid of undesirable populations. Yeah. And actually, I'd like this, since I've got a camera on me, I'd like to say she is actually winning. Margaret Sanger is long gone, but she's probably dancing in her grave right now, because in the African American community, an inordinate number of black women have abortions. Something like 70%. I mean, it's a huge number, much more than taking our demographics into play. There are more white women than there are, but they have abortions 3 times the rate that we do. And so in fact, it's the number 1 cause of death in the black community.
You know what bugs me? It's Obama is a black American. He's okaying black American women to get abortions.
Well, Patty, he's not just okaying it. He is trying to get it to be free and accessible.
That's murder.
He is...
He's a mass murderer.
In fact, if I could take this a little bit in a different direction, I don't know if you've read it, but the National Democratic Committee's platform is free and open access to abortion. I mean, it's written there. I mean, anybody can look that up, Google that, look that up, and compare that to the Republican platform or the Libertarian platform. Each party has a platform on a lot of issues, the economy and jobs, all kinds of stuff. But on the life issue, it's a very stark contrast. And the National Democratic Party, free and equal access to abortion, regardless of ability to pay, et cetera, et cetera. So they're truly Right.
They're killing our own babies.
Right. Well, they don't view it that way, I don't think. They view it as the right to choose.
Right to choose.
And the other thing I like to say to folks is that abortion really isn't health care, because over 95% of abortions are done on healthy women with healthy babies. So it's a termination procedure. It's not really a health care thing, you know.
The woman's in danger.
It's not that anybody has poor health at all. It's just that we're going to terminate that.
They didn't want the baby. They didn't feel like having it. It's going to mess up the life.
So by calling it health care, they're trying to tuck it into health insurance and get it paid for, calling it a medical, health care thing, when in actuality it is not a health care thing any more than LASIK surgery fixes my eyesight, but it's, I don't, yeah.
And with Planned Parenthood saying that they do mammograms and other
which they do not.
They do not. They do not.
So one of the things that I get to do in my job is to try to stay abreast of these different facts, monitor the abortion industry and the statistics and what's happening there, so I can be more articulate when I do try to promote pro-life legislation at the State House, or I talk in the media or whatever about the pro-life position.
You get a lot of good vibes from people about this in the legislation.
I do. In the Indiana General Assembly, which is my state, we have voted in more pro-life legislators in the past few few elections, and it's as simple as this. It's who you vote for is what is the kind of laws you get. So it's that simple. So we've been really blessed to have a lot more pro-life legislators in the House and Senate in Indiana. The leadership of the Indiana House changed last time, so the former leader, the Democratic leader of the Indiana House, a guy named Pat Bauer from South Bend, Indiana, they weren't pro-life. They wouldn't allow any of our bills to the floor. So we went for many years without being really able to pass any pro-life legislation in the House. That changed, in the 2010 election, and we've been able to be certainly a lot more successful because of the ideology of the people that have been elected and their leadership and their ability to let those bills be debated, period.
Defunding Planned Parenthood.
Yes.
Have you done that in Indiana?
Yes,
We have.
that's where that button
So-
came from.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got one of these?
Yeah. Oh,
Somewhere.
I started them. So, yeah. The Indiana Right to Life, I had those printed up, and
Yeah, they gave me one.
yeah, it was
Oh,
back
I'm a
during the
member- I'm like a member of
2011.
Right to Life.
Yes, you are. You're very, very active.
Yes.
I can see that from your bling. Pro-life bling. How about that? Yeah. So we've done that in Indiana. Of course, it's in the courts. They immediately sued. But the thing that Indiana did, that a lot of other states have tried different ways to defund. We're not the only ones. It's a trend. A lot of states are on this now. But the thing that Indiana did, we went further than anybody else. We attempting to not fund them with Medicaid dollars. Medicaid's a different program than a lot of the other funding programs. Medicaid's the big kahuna. And so we blocked that. And that's it's in the courts. The Obama administration has warned Indiana it will stop its whole Medicaid program if you don't stop it. So
man.
this is all caught
That
up.
is so not right. The government should not be doing that.
We're
We the
fighting.
people for the people, not the government saying this is what you do. If you don't like it, what you get, that type of deal. Oh.
Well, what's so interesting about this, I think, is that it didn't take any dollars away. It just said that the dollars we have for women's health care services
Right.
will go to health care entities that don't do abortions. Okay? And there's plenty of those. There's over 1,000 clinics. There's every woman on Medicaid. It just said we're not going to do any less women's health care. We're just going to give it to abortion-free entities and providers of health care. And so basically we're changing a vendor, if you see what I mean. We're not lessening the money, we're just changing the vendor. And there are plenty of health clinics and hospital clinics and Medicaid providers and stuff.
That has to be provided to the public.
Right. And what the Obama administration did was say you can't do that, you can't change the vendor. And if you do, they threatened us to eliminate our entire Medicaid program, which is little kids with broken bones, elderly people in nursing homes. We'll take your whole Medicaid program because you want to change a vendor. So we're trying to shake that out and get the logic back in this, that it's a state's right to choose its vendors. And like I said, not $1 less is being proposed, it's just where it's going. So,
What type of government do we have right now? It's not democracy, is it?
well, we really have never had a true democracy. We have a representative form of government.
Yeah.
But what we have here, in my opinion, is we just have we have a battle of ideology.
I should hope, yeah.
It's just a battle of ideologies. I don't think we've put in, a dictator or something like that, but there's certainly a very clear difference between the parties, and all you have to do is look at their platform statements. They actually write this stuff out for you. Here's what we believe, and here's what we believe. And you may have a candidate in this party that doesn't, or this doesn't, but they're ascribing to their party's platform, and I think that is something we have to hold people accountable for. So what we've got is a differing ideology, certainly from people of faith like you and I, people who believe that life begins at fertilization and that baby in the womb.
I believe in consciousness.
The other way, you're the other side. Conception. You're turning pink. It's okay.
I am.
I know what you meant. Right at conception. And so we believe that is a human being and is formed by the Lord. And so to do anything with that would be murder. Whereas the folks that we have elected in this last administration do not believe that it is a human being.
When we see the babe inside the womb and babe outside. You kill the baby inside the womb, but when it's born, well,
You're right.
there's no logic to it.
There's not. One of the things I'm fond of saying is women go into an abortion clinic because they don't want to have a baby. The other thing I'm fond of saying is it's not an alligator, it's not a puppy dog. The minute the egg and the sperm come together, the DNA has already been determined, their eye color, hair color. Right, we know that. Science knows that. And so that's why I say it's a battle of ideology. And
It's the same.
yeah,
Two people go into an abortion clinic, only one person comes out.
right. Two human beings.
Two humans.
Right.
Individual.
Right, correct.
Not the same.
Mother and baby are very different. They have different DNA. They have different
They're not
chromosomes
Different.
determine their. Yeah, you're exactly right. It's a good saying. Two people go in and one person comes out.
And that's sad.
And so I think that,
This is plain murder. But what do you say to someone
well,
who's going to have an abortion?
Roe versus Wade
Yeah.
legalized that murder. And there was, I'm sure you remember, like I do, back in the days of women's lib, and we got to burn our bras and break the glass ceiling and go to work and have equal rights and kill our babies if we wanted to.
Yeah.
So now fast forward,
And then we're paying for it.
we're paying for it 54 million
How
strong.
many generations have been killed?
You're right.
How many?
And think about across the globe, we've actually helped to export to some countries as well.
Africa?
So we are culpable, and
Boy, we're going to get it.
that's one of the reasons, one things that Patty that drives me. And I don't want to walk across the threshold of the pearly gates and say I didn't try, and I'm going to try everything I can possibly think of in the realm of legal, in the realm of our society and the opportunities that we have, and that's why it's a privilege for me to be able to do what I do.
So what would you like to tell the audience? We have about 2.5 minutes. You can look up the camera and ask.
Okay. This is my chance, huh?
Just your chance.
Actually, I'm very passionate, and I believe that the family is the cornerstone of our society, and that through unwed childbearing, we're making a lot of babies here, and not marrying, or divorce, a divorce culture, and a variety of other things that are happening in our families. We don't have as many families anymore. Certainly, we've aborted opportunities to bring back our responsibilities for ourselves and our families. We see it's now affecting our economy. It's affecting all parts of our society. We need to get back to a faith-based approach to that, I believe. We certainly need to get back to protecting basic human life. When a sperm and an egg comes together, that becomes a separate person, and there's really no denying that. So I think that we can get realistic about these things. Some people don't like the conflict associated with the politics of abortion, but the fact is that people are dying, and we need to do something about it.
We are made in God's image, and we are throwing God's gift back to Him by killing our children. And my heart goes out to the people who abort their babies and the both parents. And I don't hate them, I love them. So may God help you, and may He be with you always.
Research actually shows, you don't hear it on major television, that the strain that women go through
Yes.
in the years after an abortion,
Yes.
the lonely period that is, the regret, and a lot of other issues. And so we do pray for women. We certainly don't wish them any harm or ill will.
No, I mean, I don't hate
It's just
them.
a regrettable decision, and we were there to pray with them
And
as well.
there is help out there, girls.
Yeah.
And fathers. So God bless. And thank you, Susan,
Thank you. Thanks for having
coming
me.
on my show.
Appreciate it.
And this is Patty Hunter, Patty's Page, and we will see you next week.